mass migration is a huge problem across the whole of Europe, even in this country. Do you know what? Mass migration is a problem across the world. You speak to people in North Africa, they're sick of mass migration because we're all coming through North Africa. You speak to people in Turkey, it's not just a Western problem. You speak to Mexico, they've got tens of thousands of people, caravans coming through Mexico to get to American border. It's a problem all over the world. How do we address this? There's no simple answers, but the first thing we need to do is stop it.
I think it's easier to address in this country because we're an island.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Well, we know it is.
Yeah.
I think you and I know that if we were put in charge tomorrow, that we would
stop it in a fortnight. It'd be gone in a fortnight.
Yeah.
But it came out the other day because the Tory government now have just said we're going to change the visas for students coming into the country. Because up to a couple of months ago, each student could bring something like 5 family members with them. 5 family members for students shouldn't bring anyone. You should be lucky you're here getting an education and paying for it. But student visas were just the legal scam for more mass migration.
Yeah.
And everything is a scam for more and more migration. They released something the other day that illegal immigrants in this country now are allowed to work in the care sector, on farms and in construction because we need people in those jobs.
Oh yes, Anna was telling me that. Yeah.
So even when we think the government are penalising people coming here illegally,
they can now work.
You can work.
Yes.
Still claim benefits, still be in a tax-funded hotel, and you can also work. And we wonder why we've got millions trying to get into Europe and in this country, because the benefits are amazing.
So I'll play devil's advocate now, because these are the arguments that I hear when people say, oh, we don't want... Because what they say is, we need migration because the demographics of this country, the ageing of the population, we need young people in here working. We need to prop up the population somehow. So even though it's illegal immigration, Nick, even though it's a million coming legally, even though the students are bringing their families or whatever, we need that because we need these people to work for us. What's the answer to that?
Several answers. The first answer will be those people bring in will be getting old themselves. So then we need to bring even more people 20 years from now, 50 years from now to support them. Those people will then be getting old. This is a Ponzi scheme. This country can only hold so many people. You can't just keep bringing in the world to support our old people. Now, this is going to be quite uncomfortable for some people. Why have we got to a stage in the country where we just dump our old people, dump them into care homes, and we let illegal immigrants look after them? See the story in the Match of the News of a week?
No.
3 migrants working in a care home beating the shit out of old people.
Really?
All caught on camera because this family kept finding bruises on their relative. So we treat old people now as refuge. And just like the councils do, what the councils do, they collect your refuge. And we let councils collect our refuge now, old people. And we have immigrants looking after them. We need to take responsibility for our old people, just like they looked after us when we were young. So part of it is personal responsibility. Stop dumping our responsibilities on the council into care homes. So we take some responsibility. And then we also have to look at the state of play at the moment. So technology should be looking after solving some of these problems in the care homes. I'm not saying we have robots doing it, but a lot of the things that are being done can be done by technology, and then we can reduce how many people we need doing it. We also need to look at how much we pay care workers. Let's increase their pay. That then will get people off benefits in this country. Over 5 million people on benefits, working age benefits. Let's get them being care workers, but we don't pay them enough to do it, so they'd rather sit on the dole. So let's increase what we pay people. Let's train them better. Let's make it a job like nursing where people go, oh, I'm glad you're a nurse. That's a real great profession to be in. Let's make care work a profession. Let's train them. Let's pay them more. Let's give them some respect for being it. At the moment, you're a care worker, you just wipe asses. That's how we treat care workers. Nobody wants to do the job. And then we also need to look at, we keep being told AI is coming. They're going to take half the jobs. So we're going to lose half our jobs over the next decade, why are we still importing people in the country to do jobs now?
I think that's a good point. I mean, they're looking. When I said because of the demographics of old people, I didn't mean immigrants to come in and look after the old people. I meant people to work in factories, people to work on the land, or people in the supermarkets or whatever, young people to do that. But I think addressing that point, I think you're right about the AI thing. if AI is going to make everybody's life so much easier and reduce the amount of work that needs to be done, we don't need more people, do we? So you're saying just...
Everything on farms and everything in factories can be automated.
Yes.
Have you ever seen a strawberry picking machine?
No, I haven't.
Some countries are already using them. These robots come out, they can detect ripe berries because of the colour, and they've got like 24 arms off a bush and they carry on.
Yeah.
Everything can be done automated, but the reason why we're not automating all these jobs is because we've got an oversupply of cheap workers, mostly immigrants. So if you can pay someone £9 an hour, why are you going to invest £250,000 on some machines?
Yeah, no, it's true.
But when we start paying people £20-30 an hour, it's like, I'm going to get that bank loan now because in 10 years this will pay for itself. So we need to stop relying on cheap immigration,
which
drives wages down.
And actually, the Industrial Revolution was driven exactly for that reason, because the linen manufacturers, cotton manufacturers in the UK couldn't afford the workforce, so they started creating machines, and that's what exploded.
Yeah, the Industrial Revolution.
And we go back to Habib Milou's point. That's what created the wealth and took 90% of the population out of poverty. Yeah. That, you know, so it's individuals, entrepreneurs, creating machines and automating processes, which generates wealth, which then takes everybody up out of poverty. Yeah. So your argument would be we don't need the immigrants to prop up the working population.
We don't at all, and we never have. Immigration has been a Ponzi scheme to keep certain people rich with cheap labour. One of the biggest myths is we invited the Windrush generation here to rebuild Britain. That's not true. Nobody was invited here. The Windrush generation turned up because legally they could come. Because
my dad was part of that. My dad was born in Trinidad. Yeah. But he had a British passport. Yeah.
But we're told now that the British government invited them to come to rebuild the country. That's all untrue. It's a myth.
Did they not encourage them? I don't know. All right. Okay.
There's several reasons why they came, but they were never invited.
Yeah.
And they just had the legal right to come.
Yeah.
And because unemployment was so high in the Caribbean, it made sense for people to come here.
Yeah.
But we're told now we needed them. They were invited in for the NHS. And no, all that's untrue. We've never needed migration for our businesses to grow. It's kept wages down. It's kept productivity down because we've not automated more. It's improved their lives. My dad was an immigrant. He came over here from Ireland to work. But the whole immigration issue is surrounded by myths, lies and fairy tales. And we don't need it anymore now because we should automate. If you like that video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell and comment. And if you like what I'm saying about running for Mayor of Greater Manchester, then stick around. Tell your family, tell your friends. The only way I'm going to have a chance of winning is a grassroots movement. So be part of that movement and hit that bell. Thanks.